It's Friday, the 21st of May. Welcome to the Breakfast Show. I'm your host, Mark Anthony. Can you believe it's Friday already? As you can see, our Round the World in a Dozen Hats global tour has today landed in South Africa with this fine specimen from those purveyors of equally fine articulated dump trucks, Bell. Monday and Tuesday next week marks the final two legs of our Odyssey by Baseball Cap, but you'll have to tune in to find out just where our journey ends. We'll get to the news headlines in just a second, but first, let's see which celebrities are using their birthdays as an excuse for a long weekend off work.
Happy birthday!
I'm going to quickly gloss over the fact that today marks the birthday of serial killer Jeffrey Dahmer and say many happy returns to author Harold Robbins and also to singer Leo Sayer. Today is also the birthday of actor and jewellery enthusiast Mr. T. And I pity the fool that doesn't wish him a happy birthday. And a belated happy birthday to Ultravox drummer Warren Cann, who actually turned 71 yesterday. Ultravox was my favourite band when I was growing up, and although they're often associated with electronic music, I can assure you that Warren Cann's drumming was very real indeed. Saw that up close and personal on more occasions than I care to mention. So many happy returns, Mr. Cann, and thank you for the music. Now, we reported yesterday on an incident in which two workers had been seriously injured on a site in Liverpool, and sadly that incident has escalated from serious to tragic. The Construction Inquirer is reporting this morning that the two men involved were actually a father and son, and that the father was actually killed in the incident. Merseyside police confirmed that a 53-year-old man died at the scene, and a second man, aged 18, was taken to hospital where he remains in a critical condition. The victims have been named locally as David Bottomley and his son Clayton, both from Castleford in West Yorkshire. It's understood that a mast climber failed, dropping the victim several floors at the Unity Street site where Lang O'Rourke is the main contractor. You can find out more about this over at constructioninquirer.com, but our thoughts and prayers are with the family and colleagues of the two men at this tragic time. Now, if you were watching yesterday, you will know that I was scheduled to take part in a virtual machine launch with those fine folks over at Yanmar. And yesterday afternoon, the manufacturer launched not one, not two, but three new additions to its mini excavator lineup. Let's take a look. The new models are the SV15 VT, the SV17 VT, and the SV19 VT, and the VT stands for variable track. All three are powered by Stage 5 compliant diesel engines, and they each compete in the 1.5 to 2-ton operating weight class. You can find out a lot more details over at diggersandozers.com, and I will post a link to the full length, I think it's nearly 10 minutes actually, launch video from Yanmar themselves when I put out the extended show notes a bit later on. Now, just a quickie, just before I came on air this morning, I received notification that AR Demolition is seeking Demolition 360 plant operators. AR Demolition is a great company with a serious commitment to training. So this is a great opportunity if you are a demolition plant operator. You can find out more from our friends over at ukdemolitionjobs.co.uk. Go straight to their website, or if you're actually watching this on Facebook, they're here, there, and everywhere. And you can find the details of that job. Now, I'm going to press the button that I pressed earlier, but I'm going to do it deliberately this time. Oldham Metropolitan Borough Council has announced plans for a new eco centre, whatever the hell one of those is, and it will include an extensive glasshouse structure for horticultural use. The new facility will be located at the Alexandra Park Depot on Kings Road. There are several companies vying for the new build portion of the works, including Casey Group and Seddon Construction. But first, there is a small matter of demolishing the buildings that currently reside on the site. And at the time of recording, a demolition contractor has yet to be appointed. You can find out more about this project lead and many more just like it over at buildersconference.co.uk. Now, we've reported several times recently that the UK construction sector is facing a severe shortage of materials, and that the shortage was actually being exacerbated by the demand from the massive HS2 project. Well, news reaches us that a company is planning to use rail to help partially solve the material shortage caused, at least in part, by rail. East Midlands-based Aggrecycle has struck a deal to bring construction material for recycling to its urban quarry in Leicester by train. The firm will work with private rail operator DC Rail to freight thousands of tons of spent aggregates each year to its recycling site in the city centre. With each rail delivery bringing the equivalent of 81 lorry loads of material, the move will result in significant emission savings as well as enhancing productivity at the quarry. The company directors hope to see turnover at Aggrecycle rising up to 60% thanks to the new arrangement. Darren Thompson, site manager at Aggrecycle, expects the site to become a hub for the collection of aggregates arising from demolition projects, waste such as brick, concrete and asphalt, with deliveries arriving from all over the UK and then being used on construction sites in and around the Leicester area. Initially, the rail service will use existing infrastructure adjacent to the Aggrecycle site, which I visited and very posh it is too. But subject to the success of the project, Thompson says the new rail infrastructure could be installed within the next 12 to 18 months. So good news all round over there. It's a funny thing. I've been producing a podcast for more than 8 years, although we've only switched to our current format about 5 years ago. I just assumed that everyone knew that the podcast was there, that it existed, that we were updating it on a regular basis. Turns out I was wrong. Ever since we started mentioning the podcast earlier this week here on the show, we've seen an absolute mammoth spike in the number of downloads and listens. And our audio version of the show, in which we looked to identify the Tesla of the construction equipment world, appears to have gone down very well indeed. You can listen to that one and literally hundreds more episodes by searching for Demolition News Radio on your preferred podcast platform. And don't forget, you can listen to the world's #1 demolition podcast on your smart speaker as well. Speaking of the Tesla of the digger world, that discussion left me feeling rather inspired, if I'm being honest. And I'm about 3/4 of the way through writing a long-form article on the very same subject. That article is going to be way too long for Demolition News, and it's also in a very different style as well. So in all likelihood, I will be posting that to the Medium platform over the weekend. Medium is where I tend to put the stuff that I write that doesn't quite fit Demolition News or Diggers and Dozers, but I'll tell you more about that once the article is up. Just one more thing before I declare today's show well and truly over. I'm planning to pop back tomorrow, that's Saturday, if you're watching this later on, for an informal natter. There will be no script, no agenda, which hopefully will allow you to contribute a bit more if you're around. I'll be here at 1 p.m. tomorrow if you fancy a chat about anything ideally demolition or construction related. And finally, our regular roundup of news stories from the past week will drop first thing tomorrow as well. All things being equal, the weekend wrap will drop at around 7:30 tomorrow morning. So you can catch up on the week's news over a hearty and no doubt well-deserved breakfast. But until then, have a great day. Wrap up because it's blowing a gale out there. I dropped the car off for a service earlier today and it nearly blew my wig off. I wasn't wearing a wig, but you get the idea. In the meantime, stay safe. Have a great day, everyone. Stay safe. Look after yourselves, your family, your friends, and your colleagues. And I will see you again. Well, I'll see you tomorrow. I'll see you twice tomorrow, in fact, but I'll see you properly on Monday. In the meantime, thanks for watching.